In today's show, I will be sharing 3 travel hacks that I picked up yesterday at what I call my annual playground, which is the Destinations Holiday and Travel Show, which is this annual feast of touring the world without actually leaving your country. So, what it is, it's a 4-day exhibition, literally showcasing all the wonderful places and travel options. It was like a montage of travel and places to go in the world in 2024. So, in today's show, there are 3 key travel hacks that are useful for baby boomers as we plan out the social side of our lives. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Bybreen Samuels, and I help baby boomers reinvent themselves psychologically, practically, and technically so they can thrive in their third act of life. And one of the ways to thrive is to have a social time, which travel forms part of. So, at this wonderful exhibition about travel and destinations and holidays in a variety of guises, whether it's budget travel, mid level travel, or luxury, there's something for everyone. And across a number of panels, there was this sense of there are things that we can do to save money as we're planning our playtime in the world. And so the first travel hack is about when is the cheapest and best time to plan and travel throughout the year. Now, there are 2 particular months, the one we're currently in, which is February and October. Now, the reason being is because for February and October, there's something called a shoulder season, meaning February, we've just come through winter in a sense. We're still there, but we're not quite into spring. So there's this holding period. And in this holding period, there are countries in the world where the rainy season is coming to an end. The schools are not, it's not part of half term. And so there are opportunities to save when we think about flights and accommodation. So February is a fantastic time to travel because in the northern hemisphere, we are still going through winter, moving towards spring, but in the southern hemisphere, we're looking at summer. So great places to travel to once the rainy season is over, or if the country doesn't have a rainy season, which means that there is still good weather, are places like New Zealand, South Africa, and Thailand. Now, the time of the year is really important. So that's the early part of the year. The latter part of the year is October. And the reason for this is because October means it's the end of the summer season here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're not quite into the winter season. And children have gone back to school. Now, these 2 months is where you can make some great savings. So I remember last year, I went on my very first cruise, which was fantastic. And it was actually in October. So what we got was a repositioned cruise, which means that because the summer season had finished here in the Northern Hemisphere, the boat, the ship, the yacht was being repositioned to move towards the Caribbean and the Americas market, which means it's a great time to save money. When I think about the actual cruise that we went on, we got it for under £1,100 for a 2-week cruise to the Caribbean. So excellent savings are to be made. Another reason is because both February and October are outside of the children's school holidays. So we miss the summer break where we've got 6 to 8 weeks off. So that's a very expensive period. Then there's a Christmas break, there's half terms, there's Easter. So these periods are where it's really expensive to travel. Also, you need to think about, okay, well, I can travel in Feb, I could travel in October for a reduced price. You could potentially make savings depending on the day that you actually book and travel. So it's more expensive to fly or, sail at the weekend. And it's cheaper to be traveling on, let's say, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's going to save you some money. Also, the time that you travel. So last September and November, I was in Switzerland in September and Ireland in November. I was trying to remember which way round it was. Nonetheless, both of them were really cheap in terms of the flight that I got because I flew out early in the morning. So great savings can be made if you fly early in the morning before 8:30-ish, or later at night from 10 o'clock onwards. So these are opportunities for you to save. Now, is there any advantage if you book way in advance? So there was somebody from the cruise industry, and she said there are pros and cons to this because if you're going for a luxury holiday, like a cruise, for example, you might think, well, if I book 10 to 12 months out in advance, then there is a possibility that you could make savings. However, 2 months, 6 weeks before the date of the cruise, for example, operators are looking to see whether they've sold all of their cabins. And if they haven't, that's the time when they begin to slash their prices. And so actually booking last minute, you could actually make savings. The thing there is that you need to have some flexibility with when you are going to travel. So that's the first one, the cheapest months, as well as why it will be useful. Another thing to avoid is just looking at international festivals or major events. Now, they are periods when travel is going to be very expensive because there's a limited amount of tickets, and yet there's a surplus of people who may want to go to those events. Think of any of the major sporting events, or there's a festival called Burning Man, for example, just international events. Or if people want to come to the UK, you've got Glastonbury. Think about when Adele was hosting her concerts in Las Vegas, and that was an international event where people were flying in from all over the world. And yes, she cancelled, so that cost people a lot of money. So if you are able to book your holidays beyond the periods where there's international events and the other things that I mentioned, they are opportunities to save money. So think of February and October and the shoulder seasons between moving from one season going into another. The second hack was around flights and where you can book flights. Now, all of the panelists spoke about Google Flights being like the best website where you can literally just book everything. Obviously, Google is a search engine, it pulls everything together. So it's got data at its fingertips. And what can help us when we're booking our flights is you could literally just put in your destination, and you might keep the time period that you are thinking of traveling, but you're going to keep that flexible. Or you could be searching multiple cities at the same time. So that one was really being touted. However, there's an aggregator called Travel Zoo. And what Travel Zoo does is that they are equally searching the net. And where they see operators or sites that are offering cut price deals, cheap holidays, saying that they are the cheapest on the market, Travel Zoo holds them to that. And so they are a price aggregator, but also keeping their eyes on other operators in the market. So I'd already heard of Google Flights, but what I hadn't heard of was Flight From. Now, this is a tool that their primary audience are business travelers. And essentially, the problem that they're solving there is time efficiency. So, Flight From is a Swedish company. And what they've done is they've built this tool that if you are looking to book a direct flight because you want to save time, then Flight From, although it has a focus on the business market, what they found is that people who have maybe lots of time on their hand and are really into exploring the world and thinking about, well, I want to take a direct flight, I do want to save time, But with Flight From, what they're doing, they're literally scanning every single airline in the whole world. And here you can leisurely take your time to explore, well, where does every single airline fly to? What countries? What particular cities, what time of year, is it seasonal, what's the length of the flight, which airports, which terminals, and are there any delays that could be happening? Flight From is literally one or two clicks away, and you are able to gather all of this information. So it's data. So if you're one of those data nerds, but also if you're really into planning your holidays and you want to take your time, you don't want to go through a travel agent, you actually want to be connecting with each and every airline, then Flight From gives you that opportunity. Now it has a sister site, which is Flight Route. So Flight From is dealing with direct flights, non-stop flights to whatever destination. The sister one, which is Flight Route, is looking at connecting flights. And it's the connecting flights. So it wants you to think about your travel or your holiday to what's the closest airport to you. Then you're going to pick your destination. And it might be that you fly into one city and then you have to wait until you make a connecting flight. Here again, it's for the data nerds who want to compile information. And in the compilation of this, what you're looking at is, okay, there are connecting flights. How many? How long is the time between the first flight that takes you midway, partway to where you want to go? And what's the second flight? Are there any delays attached to any of that? Which other airlines could be flying in? What's the cost? So you can do like a cost analysis. So these two are search tools that really are serving two markets, even though they kind of blur into one in a sense. But it is about collating data, taking your time, and literally having a sense of how far in advance, because for some of them, you could be analyzing flights up to 12 months in advance, which is quite unusual because for airlines generally, it could be just a few days in advance and maybe a few weeks. But with these tools, Flight From and Flight Route gives you greater control where you literally are cherry picking airlines to fit what it is that you are looking for. Then there's another one which is called Seat Spy. Now, Seat Spy is really tied in with the world of points. So you have loyalty points, your awarded points, and with the accumulation of points, with Seat Spy, again, what you can be doing is checking a year in advance what seats are available that you could be booking on. And with this, what you're looking at here is you're accumulating a number of points. And with this Seat Spy, you're able to have a sense of, well, if I have X number of points, that means that I could travel to Y particular destination. So all three of them, Seat Spy, Flight From, and Flight Route, are aggregators of data that helps you take control of your travel plans in a way that's going to be meaningful for you, but where you can literally tie in, instead of relying on others, to think about, I want a direct flight, so I'm going to use Flight From, or there's a direct flight, but I'm going to have some connecting flights, and I want to really use my time in the most efficient way. Then we have this sense of the accumulation. And the accumulator here, what the man from, he's called the Points Guy. He was brilliant. And so his specialty is then, how do we actually get cheap flights where we potentially could be flying first class for next to nothing? How could that actually happen? So for those of you who use credit cards and you're collecting your flights and your points and you're being awarded and there's loyalty attached to it, where you're accruing these points and then that gives you a discount. And then let's say it's a first class flight that could be costing you I don't know, £10,000 or £7,000. With the accumulation of your points, what it could amount to is that you're just paying the tax on it. So you're making significant changes. But there's a new development in the travel world, and it's around shopping portals. So instead of having to fly somewhere to accumulate your points, shopping portals is the latest development in the world of travel. And so here, what airlines are doing, they have a shopping portal. And within the shopping portal, they have liaised and negotiated, sometimes with hundreds of retailers or thousands of retailers. Like Virgin has one called Shop Away. And so here, what you're doing is through your online shopping experiences and activities, going through these shopping portals, what you're doing is you are connecting. You've got to sign up to their loyalty program. So pick any of your favorite airlines and look to see if they have a shopping portal. You have to sign up with them. And when you sign up with them, what you're going to do is go through and use Google Chrome. And with that, you can attach the plugin to the browser, which then makes it a streamlined experience when you are surfing sites, you're buying online, and then you are accruing points along the way. So you have something, as I said, like Shop Away. So what Virgin are doing, they're saying, well, we've got thousands, for example, here in the UK, and I think elsewhere, we have the John Lewis Group. So each and every time that you shop, you are collecting. It goes against your account. And then what you're doing is you're accumulating all of those points. And the great thing is that you literally don't even need to leave your house, but yet you are accruing points that allows you to travel at a far cheaper rate. So they are the three core travel hacks that, this destination and travel show, there was so much information, and I'm going to be bringing you vignettes of what happened that can help you plan your travel for 2024. And what are some of the changes that are going on in the travel world? How is technology shaping the world of travel? What are some of the new, sometimes some would say, surprising destinations that are now coming on the horizon? And I think when you're looking at travel, one needs to pay attention to the accumulation of countries. So we've got the BRICS countries, which is, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And then there's this accumulation that's taking place through Africa. So we're seeing the emergence of destinations that, for some, maybe years ago, were seen as, off the beaten track. They're far from being off the beaten track. The economies are rising. There's a sense of stability in the countries. And for each and every one of us who is looking, whether it's a budget holiday, it's mid-level, it's luxury, it's exploration, it's adventure, there is something for everybody. And so what I'm going to be doing over the next few shows that I put together is how can you start building your travel plans with the latest information that's coming from industry experts. The whole exhibition, which finishes today at 5:30, has experts who are immersed, travel journalists that have been doing this for 20, 30 years. What does it mean, for example, to travel as an intergenerational family? How are you catering for younger people, as well as how are you catering for older people who are looking to travel? So I'm going to be bringing you all of that. And for those of you who are putting together your travel plans like me, or who are looking to be location independent like me in one form or another, there's lots of choices, lots of change, but also about where can we save money? Where can we save time when we're applying ourselves in a way whereby that sense of seeking fun and adventure can be utilized by making wise choices? So this one today is short and sweet, And because, as I said, I'm breaking down the content in terms of what I was exposed to yesterday and how I'm going to be sharing that with you over the coming weeks. So I'd love to hear your travel plans. Put them in the comment box below. What are you thinking of doing this year? Do you want to be traveling by air? Do you want to be traveling by train? Do you want to be traveling by sea? Do you want to be traveling over land? There's so many opportunities. Can't wait to share them with you. And please like, share, subscribe, turn on the notification button on my channel, and invite other baby boomers to come and join me, come and join us here on a Sunday at 3:30, where I'll be sharing more vignettes, more ideas, more concepts, more subjects that help to build out the lives of baby boomers who are looking to live the best act, which is the third act of their life. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.